Okay, so welcome to the coaching session, and what can I help you with today?
Okay. Just wanted to talk to you about, I guess just one thing. I have some notes written down, and I might be taking notes throughout the session too,
Yes.
if you don't mind.
No problem.
So it's kind of like I have this. I have that issue where I want something, but I'm not taking steps to like get it. And in this situation, for me, it's getting into romantic relationships. And when I think about it, it might be something that I want, but um, I feel a lot of resistance to taking actions. Um, from what I can understand about thinking about this for a while in preparation for this session, there's a lot of shame for me, right? Because like I'm in my late 20s and I haven't been in one yet, so it's kind of like of shame, maybe a little bit of hopelessness. I don't give myself a lot of chances to succeed, and it's also kind of like sometimes I think like, man, like how did I ever let it get to this point? You know, it's like I feel like I look around and people are doing it like pretty easily, for sure, but for me, it's definitely a struggle, and that leads to more thoughts like, man, like maybe there's something wrong with me. Uh, yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of like the starting point, I guess.
So it has been a struggle for you until this point, right?
Yeah.
So when you were like, and I think a big proportion of the shame is coming from you have an expectation that by this age, you should have had some romantic encounters, but it's not happened yet. So I think there is a lot of element of that. But before we get to that point,
Mm-hmm.
why is it a struggle to initiate romantic relationships for you?
Right now or like in the past?
In the past, what part of it was hard for you?
The part that was hard for me, I think, was just asking people out. It's not like I haven't had chances, but in the moment, I never go for the chances.
What is your brain saying? So you have someone that you're interested in potentially,
Mhm.
and then the words are about to come out of your mouth. But then
Yeah.
what does your brain say to stop that?
Um, it says, there's no way she's gonna say yes, or like this rejection is gonna be like too painful, and you're not gonna be able to handle it. So let's just back away a little bit. Um, and that was when I was like younger, in my early 20s. I was meeting more people then because I was going to more parties and stuff. But nowadays, it's a little harder. So I'm not sure how I would fare now. But part of the issue now is that I am not taking steps to meet people as well. So
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
Mix.
why is there no chance? Why does your brain think there is absolutely no chance she's gonna say yes?
um, I think maybe a couple of reasons that come to my mind, right?
Mhm.
Like, so no success dating in high school or middle school or college. Um, so I think like those, like the lack of success in those areas of my life started to like plant a seed in
Mhm.
me that's like, oh, you're not worth it or something. Um, Another reason I could think of is, you know, I've been turned down before, and that was when I was younger. And I think I've never really gotten over those experiences, or maybe I just kind of like never metabolized them. So that could be contribute to some kind of emotional blocker.
Mhm.
And let's see, I guess like I have this concept of like leaks, like, oh, like she's like too pretty for me. Like there's no way, like I'm not like a good looking guy, but she's like a good looking girl. So like how's that ever gonna happen?
So, okay, there's a few thoughts floating around, but I think I want to choose one to work with for now.
Yeah.
And the thought I want to work with is you can't handle this rejection.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so when your brain is telling you, oh, you can't handle this rejection, so you're gonna not do anything. Well, let's take a step back.
Mhm.
What feeling, what emotion does that make you feel?
Emotion, like very like apprehensive, like scared for sure.
Scared. Okay.
Yeah.
And now, scared. That feeling is causing you to take some actions or preventing some actions, right?
Yes.
So the ones that we discussed so far is when you have this feeling of feeling scared because you think, oh, I cannot handle this rejection, it leads you to not take the action of asking someone out.
Yep, definitely.
What other actions is it blocking you from doing? What actions is the feeling scared preventing you from doing?
In this context, or
In this context.
in this context, yeah. So not ask them out. Like if my friend tries to like maybe set me up with someone, I'm like, oh, they're not really my type.
Mm-hmm.
Anything to like not put me like in a situation to kind of like go on a date, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Shooting down ideas of kind of like where to meet people, telling myself, oh, like chances of like if I do this activity, chances are very low that I'm gonna meet anyone. So like, why bother? I don't know if that's scared, but I think it's related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in place of those actions that it's preventing, right? So when you're feeling scared, it's preventing you from getting set up with other people. It's preventing you from saying something to other people. It's preventing you from coming up with plans. But instead of that, what are you doing instead?
What am I doing instead? I'm falling into like very comfortable habits, like I'm reading about how to meet people instead of meeting people. I'm reading about like how to date instead of trying to date. Like I have some matches on Hinge right now that I'm not like messaging back because what if it goes somewhere? And like I went on a date last year-ish around this time with a girl who I thought like we kicked it off okay. I should have asked her on a second date, but like she started talking about her boyfriend and her ex-boyfriend, sorry. And there was a distinct moment of like me thinking, oh, well, she's a little younger than me and she's had like dating experiences and long-term relationship experiences. No way can I like ask her on this second date because like she's gonna see that I'm this guy who's never been in a relationship at my age, and like what is she gonna think? So I never like contacted her again. Playing games or like watching adult videos to kind of like make emotions go away. Whenever I have thoughts of like, yeah, damn, what if like I die alone and stuff? I just like indulge in dopaminergic activities.
Okay, so you're doing a lot of dopamine-inducing activities. You're ruminating. You're placed in a comfortable spot. You're researching stuff instead of actually doing it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so now we talked about these actions. So you don't actively ask people out. You don't actively plan for things. You don't actively set yourself up with dates. Instead, you just ruminate. you do a lot of dopamine inducing activities. You read about stuff instead of actually doing it. And why do you do these things? Can you answer that? Why?
Because it's safe for me.
Yeah.
It's
So-
like protective.
The feeling of scared. The feeling of scared is causing all these actions and inactions, right?
Yeah.
And where does that feeling of scaredness come from?
Past experiences, maybe my thought
No,
process.
It comes from the thought
Hmm.
that you cannot handle it. You cannot handle the rejection.
Yeah.
But
But
the
wait,
thing is,
There are lots of people who have been rejected before, right?
yeah,
There are lots of people who haven't had romantic relationships until their late 20s, right? You're not the only one, right?
yeah, I definitely am not like the only one.
Yeah, and moreover, if it was universally the truth that you cannot handle any more rejections, then number one, everybody who has the same experience as you will have the same reaction as you, but everyone's lives are different, right?
Mhm.
Moreover, we just discussed that you had a date like a year ago.
Yeah.
But when we were initially discussing this, issue, I was under the impression that you had actually no romantic encounters at all throughout your life. But you see how your brain frames it differently. Even the good experiences that you've had before, because you said the date was kind of kicked off in a good way,
Mhm.
your brain kind of disregards that as insignificant.
Yeah, definitely. Like any positive interactions with women I've had, like it feels like my mind just kind of like, it's like, okay, like this is evidence that some people find me attractive, but then my mind just takes the goalpost, I guess, and then like just like kind of moves it a little bit. It's like, it doesn't mean anything. I definitely noticed that too. But
so
What I'm trying to say is that if you didn't think the thought that I can't handle this rejection, your life would change, right? Because when you think I can't handle another rejection,
Mhm.
you block yourself. You prevent yourself from ever getting a chance at being accepted.
Yeah.
Because you're preemptively blocking everything, right?
Mhm.
So if you just changed one thought today, if you just decided that, hey, you know what? Some people can reject me, but that has nothing to do with me. It's their personal choice. And I'm fine with that. That would lead you to not engage in so many dopamine activities. That would lead you to actually plan for more opportunities to meet people,
Mhm.
because all the actions are related to your thoughts, right?
Yeah. Is it? But the thought comes from like bad experiences.
Yeah. So
Right.
let's talk about that. Because now, in your opinion, if it weren't for all the bad experiences, do you think you'll be able to change your mind today?
If I didn't have the bad experiences.
No, I mean, like, if you had your bad experiences, I can't make them disappear because I'm not a time machine.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yep.
But if you changed your mind about that today, would you be willing to think differently about rejections?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
It's part of the goal. So like, you mean to reframe how I think about bad experiences, right?
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do the rejections mean to you as a human being?
I mean, rejections can only mean one thing, right? It's like you're not like a fit for like what this job, this person, this position, or whatever. Like you're not like, you don't fit what they're looking for.
Mhm.
So
But why does
It's
it
like-
hurt so much to you?
why does it hurt?
Yeah.
I mean, it hurts.
There was a
Everyone.
lot of
Pain, and there you mentioned you weren't able to fully recover from past experiences. What causes that amount of pain?
I think for me, rejection just kind of like reinforces this idea about how you know, like I don't have like the biggest amount of confidence growing up and stuff. I'm better now, but when I was younger, very anxious, not really confident. I think being rejected back then just kind of like piled on to my insecurities and stuff, and it was very uncomfortable back then, and I just grew afraid of it over time.
Because
Being rejected kind of means to me like, oh, maybe you're not yada yada, you're not like tall enough, you're not good looking, like you're not whatever, whatever attributes enough for like this person. It's like it's a painful thought, you know what I mean? So yeah.
So it's that you're not this standard.
yeah,
That hurts you because you're not that standard.
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Like I think about like, oh, how would my life be different if I was that standard?
right.
Mhm.
Like
Would things be different?
Yeah.
of
How
course I
would
can't.
it be different?
I don't know. If I was like tall, maybe I have better chances. But
But okay,
so
it's kind of like
just-
abstract and vague. So
let's just use that. You said if you were tall, you'd have
Mhm.
more chances, right? Why?
because I hear women talk about how like they have a preference for height, like tall guys.
Uh-huh. But
That's kind of like one example.
if you're just tall and you're the same same insecurities,
Mhm.
does that change things? Because there's
Same
a lot of tall guys who are not able to get relationships too, right?
Yeah.
So you're thinking right now, something will change if I became taller. What does that change? Internally.
Internally,
Yeah.
maybe just a little bit more confident.
Right.
Yeah. Look,
That's what I'm looking for, right? And let's say you are better looking.
Yeah.
That will give you a little bit more confidence, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So like everything that like you go online, you read about all these different attributes that are attractive to women, and you think, oh, if I just stack them enough, if I was this person, if I was that person, like I'd be a little bit more confident with every attributes that I have.
Yeah. So number one, those like guidelines and standards about male beauty or male how they should look, how tall they should be. They're all other people's opinions, right?
Yeah, they're kind of like I think they're like collectively
other
There's a statistically generalized
opinion,
general.
right?
That's a good word. Yeah.
So that doesn't mean, like, for example, Danny DeVito got married, right?
Who's Danny DeVito? I'm sorry.
Like the
Super short guy and Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Mm.
So like, and other short guys have romantic relationships, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
People with not perfect faces, because a perfect face doesn't exist,
Mhm.
do get romantic relationships and they get married, right?
Yeah, all the time.
People who are sometimes objectively good looking, like not objectively, but like, majority goal, like standard wise good looking, a lot of them also have problems with romantic relationships, right?
Yeah.
And people fret about hair loss a lot. Oh,
Mhm.
my forehead is receding and it's driving me crazy. But there are people who don't have hair who have successful romantic relationships, right?
Yeah. All guys, you mean like well, women too.
Yeah. So basically what I'm saying is that all of those things are generalized standards, and you cannot apply, it's like me choosing to always feel bad because I can't play golf better than Tiger Woods,
Mhm.
or I can't play basketball better than Michael Jordan. It's the truth, right?
Yeah.
But me always thinking that and feeling bad about myself is kind of silly, right?
So my mind just came up with like a resistance to that.
Yeah.
Because let's say, you don't need to play basketball or like golf well to like quote unquote have a decent life. But I feel like, being in a relationship really enhances your life, right?
Okay.
So
Like my mind's pushing back a little.
yeah, and now what I need you to notice is that that's your thought, and that's not the absolute truth about the world.
Right. It's
So
my
if I-
perception.
If I am a PGA golfer, then playing golf well actually means a lot to my livelihood, right?
Right.
If
Yeah.
I
I'm an NBA player, playing basketball well actually means a lot to my livelihood.
Mhm.
And what if I am, what if I'm asexual? Then romantic relationships or like sexual intercourse or relationships, they don't mean that much to me.
Mhm.
And so it's not the global truth. It's not a universal truth that relationships make life better. Because think about how many domestic abuses there are in the world.
Right. Yeah.
Think of how many abusive relationships there are in regards to age, with regards to sexuality. Like, just because having a relationship, it doesn't necessarily correlate to a better life.
Yeah.
So now with that, all the standards, when you meet them, you're getting a little bit more confident, right?
In my mind, I think that's the thing though. Like, I think I would be a little bit more confident.
Yeah.
I'm
so
not sure because like I can't be taller, so like it's theory, It's I don't really know how I would really feel.
Yeah. So what if I told you that feeling confident is something you can do today, but instead you're putting all these conditions, you're putting all these restrictions on why you can't feel confident.
Right, because I want to be just doing the same thing day in day out. I
Yeah.
guess it's safe.
Yeah.
But if I can't just like wake up today and look at myself in the mirror and be like, "Hey, you're confident now."
Right.
Why not?
because-
I mean, doesn't that take a long time and like a lot of processes to change the way you think about yourself?
Why does it have to? If you believe that it's going to take a long time and if you believe it's going to be difficult, then yes. But what if it was effortless?
Well, I mean, then everyone would be confident, right?
Because
Yeah.
Everyone would wake up and be like, think to themselves like, "Hey, I'm confident today," and like the next day they would do it, But like,
But
Not
like
everyone.
you said, everyone has the limit and everyone has the resistance saying, no, 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 I'm going to just put you back into your place.
yeah, like put myself back into like where I
Yeah.
think I belong. Yeah.
So exactly like you said, you put yourself where you think you belong. So what if you thought you belong in a confident mental space? Can you see how what I'm just saying is that it's possible for you to feel confident today, and your mind, it's not you, it's your brain trying to come up with all these reasons and all these excuses and all these, like all these reasons why you just should stay in the same place because it's so uncomfortable for you to venture outside of that comfort zone.
Yeah. It's like, oh, it's gonna need evidence to like feel confident.
Yeah, but there are lots of things we believe without evidence, right?
Yeah, definitely.
For example, like, I don't think that you have any evidence to believe that you deserve less.
What about like the painful past experiences
Okay.
and like
There-
those people's opinions of me?
Yeah, right. So here's the thing. I'll let you in on a pretty fun secret. You not feeling loved is less about you not being love worthy. It's 100% about other people's lack of ability to give love to you. Because you are lovable no matter what. And let me prove that let me provide some logic behind that statement, right? So you watch kitty videos or puppy videos on the internet, or like children playing.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and that inspires like a warm feeling of love, right? And now you oftentimes see like in the modern internet where it's so easy to see like vile kind of content where children get hurt, right? And that makes you feel like really hurt inside when you see children getting hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, a lot of people think that I need to be something in order to be love worthy, right? I need to be good looking. I need to have good grades, or I need to have good morality. I need to go to church really well. I need to be practicing my religion in order to be loved. But now, if you think about it, the dogs and kitties and the children of the internet, or maybe some child that just walks by you in the neighborhood, they didn't do anything to deserve your love, right?
Yeah, I guess they're just cute.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So, but all they did is exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And moreover, it doesn't even have to be about the physical world. People love Harry Potter, right? People love the concept of Baby Yoda, right?
Yeah.
But they're not real. They're fictional. So the only thing that you have to do in order to be loved is exist in this world. But now there are people who can't love unconditionally. There are parents who are like, okay, I'm only going to love you if you get all A's. There are parents who are like, I'm only going to love you if you get, if you behave well at church. And there are girlfriends and boyfriends who are like, you know what? I'm only gonna love you if you blah, 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 blah. There are people who start out on a date, but then reject people because, oh, yeah, that person is not up to my standard, blah, blah, blah. That is giving love unconditionally.
Yep.
So all the experiences in the past where you felt rejected, it has nothing to do with your lovability and your worth as a human being. It's that other people lacked the power, lacked the ability to give you love.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that.
So aside from your thoughts preventing you from going there, you have no reason to believe you're not worthy. You have no reason to not be confident.
Yeah, but like you say, my mind or my thoughts, just kind of like puts a barrier up for sure.
Yeah. What's that barrier? Let's talk about it.
So like I hear a lot of what you're saying, and I agree with you, but there's always there's a sense of resistance to that. It's kind of like, oh, but no one's really loved you romantically up until this point, right? So
But did
it
you
doesn't matter to me.
We discussed earlier your thought about, oh, what, I can't handle another rejection. And the result that came out of that thought is you were actively blocking opportunities for people to show you love, right?
Yeah. It's kind of it's like a cycle, right?
So what if you approach the world in a more open mind and open arms?
it would be nice for sure, but I
Yeah.
don't know how to do that. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're getting to the fun part. Because the brain can imagine anything, right? So for example, if I told you to think of an anxiety-inducing situation right now, like you're pretty safe in your room right now, but your heart's gonna start pounding and you're gonna feel anxious because your brain is imagining it already, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
now,
Actually, I have that sometimes, like just
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
about it.
So now I just want you to just go into this imaginary zone and try to answer this. How can it be easy to express yourself in the world instead of hard?
How can it be
Make it-
easy? to
Yeah.
express myself? If like I would feel a lot more free to like be myself.
Uh-huh.
People's opinions of that matter less to me.
Yeah. How can we make that happen?
Uh, hmm.
I'll give you a bit of a brain dump on this topic.
Okay.
I like Pepsi more than I like Coca-Cola.
Mhm.
Because of me, does the stock price of Pepsi go a little bit high and does the stock price of Coca-Cola go a little low?
Not you, but you might be one part of like a million people who don't buy Coca-Cola, right?
Yeah.
If there's enough of that, then yeah, it'll go down. But you
Yeah.
personally, no.
So that's principles of macroeconomics, right? Like if there's more people like that, like then blah, blah, blah. Not talking about macroeconomics, but just me, just individually, doesn't matter, right? And for example, if I told you that you're actually really good looking and that you have really good facial features and you look really masculine and it looks like I would be surprised if you told me that you didn't have any success in dating because you look really good. Now, does that actually change your value and your worth?
I would feel, I guess, complimented, but my overall value, I guess, not really, not much.
Right?
Yeah.
And let's say if a potential romantic interest tells you that they don't really like your tone of voice, for example, does that really change your value?
Not in the same way, maybe not really, but you'd still be a little hurt for sure. But like
Yeah,
your
but
overall value is not really determined by just one person's opinion.
Yeah, right? So the hurt we can discuss later. But what I'm saying is other people's opinions are just other people's opinions.
Yeah, but other people's opinions can influence the way you feel, which influence your thought. And it
yeah,
just kind of like, leads you to certain paths in life, like, mine right now, right?
That is because why do you think that happens?
So maybe I internalize what I think they think about me.
Yes.
It changes my thought because, like, let's understand why we got hurt so we don't get hurt again.
Yeah, so ultimately what I'm saying is you agree with that other person's opinion and you let that hurt you. When you prevent that step from happening, when you really acknowledge that, oh, yeah, they can think that because they have free will. And I can't control how other people think. I can only control how I think.
Yeah.
Then whatever they say, it doesn't have to hurt you. Hurting is an option. I can hear something like, oh, that Billy guy, I don't like his vest. I can hear that. And then there's a process in which I can take that as like, oh, they're talking about my fashion.
Mhm.
Does that mean I have bad fashion sense? Then does that mean I'm not presentable? Oh, that must mean I suck. So there's a step. There's a sequence of thoughts that happen before I get hurt.
Yes. Yeah. How you feel is gonna be determined by how your mind process what
Yeah.
they think about you or say about you.
But what if you completely skip that step?
Skip the
That's the way to not get hurt, right? Like somebody says, oh, like going back to the previous example, I don't like your voice.
Mhm.
Okay. I can't do anything about that. That's just your preference. That's like basically her saying, I don't like Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Because qualitatively, it makes no difference. It's just her thoughts, right?
Mhm.
But you wouldn't be hurt by, I don't like Dr. Pepper.
No.
So why let I don't like your tone of voice hurt you?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is that, we evolved to like care about what people think of us because it was like survival back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing now, right? Everyone wants to feel like to be a part of a community. So you get hurt when you get rejected in some way because I guess that's just how we're wired. I don't really know the answer.
Yeah. So again, I'm just offering to you that when you're choosing to believe that,
Mhm.
and that's what creates the hurt.
Yeah.
And so now going back to imagination again, like what if it was really easy? What if it was completely effortless and completely automatic to just appreciate other people's thoughts as other people's thoughts?
What, even if they're like, even if those thoughts are harmful to you in some way?
If it's
Or-
completely harmful to you, like they're actively being toxic or they're actively threatening you with harm,
Mhm.
that's when you need to set a boundary and
Yeah.
and you need to take action against that. But just I'm talking about just opinions about
Yeah, and for sure it would be like nice to definitely care less about random people's opinions.
yeah, how can we make that happen? How do you think that can happen for you?
I guess based on what we just talked about, just reframe how I see the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of vague, but
How do you want to feel?
how do I want to feel?
Yeah.
I want to feel. I'd say I want to feel confident and like comfortable with myself.
When have you felt that way before?
When have I felt that way? So I did, and I used to be like a mechanical engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Then
I switched career over to CS.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of like studying by myself and somehow managed to land a gig.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like the last time I felt like really confident. It was like, man, I can do this.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do this, right? And now
Mhm.
that confidence, where does it live in your body? Because emotions are felt through your body. Where does it live?
To the right of the heart, probably. I want to say because I'm feeling it right now. Actually,
Yeah.
like a feeling of being pumped up, and it's like,
Right of your
You-
heart. And there's like a lot of pumping going on. Like you got this,
Mhm.
man, right?
Yeah.
So now let's paste this feeling. Let's copy and paste this feeling into your romantic life, right? So some people, you put yourself out there. You go on a date or like, your friend tries to set you up. How can you how can you invite this feeling? Tell me, how can you invite this feeling in that situation?
invite the feeling.
Yeah. You just did it right now, out of thin air, right?
Yeah. I just thought about like a time when I was confident, and then the feeling came.
Yeah. So
You can invite it in the same situation. Like you're out on dating, you're about to ask someone out. How can you invite this feeling? What thoughts need to happen in order to make that happen?
The same thought as with the job switching, right? It's like, I got this, or like I'll be okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you completely switched careers just by yourself. And now you're gonna do a 180 on your dating life. Your dating life, you think you had nothing,
Mhm.
but you're gonna turn it completely around, like how you landed that gig before.
Yeah.
You got your new CS job just by switching careers on your own. You got this.
Mhm.
And when you're talking to a potential, romantic interest,
Mhm.
can you feel it?
I'll try. Like I think I'm still feeling being pumped up. I think I can. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
I'll try thinking it a little differently, but I'm not sure if I can or not.
are you
Are you feeling hesitant, or is it just that you can't
Um,
associate into the feeling?
a little bit hesitation, but more of just kind of like theoretically, I can invoke the feeling, but until I have like some actual like experience of trying to pump myself up in that way,
okay?
like I won't really know.
All right, so let's do this real quick, right? So we're gonna do some tapping exercise, okay? So let's address the remaining hesitancy and anxiety, and let's start fresh, okay? So all you need is just 3 fingers,
Okay.
and we're gonna tap the apex of your head, and you're gonna say, "I release and let this go.
I release and let this go.
I release and let this go."
Oh, so you have to like repeat it.
Yeah.
So
I release and let
let this go.
Now let's tap the starting of your eyebrow. I release and let this go.
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 Now tap the end of your eye. I release and let this go.
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 And now tap the underneath of your eye. I release and let this go.
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 And now let's tap your collarbone. I release and let this go.
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 And now let's wrap your wrist and take a breath in and breathe out twice as long. All right. Are you able to sense, any lingering kind of anxiety?
No, maybe a faint trace, but like,
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
alright. Yeah.
Now we're gonna spend the rest of the time just giving our brain mental experience, because like you said, you need experience in order for this to feel more real, right? But the cool thing is athletes do this all the time. They don't actually need to go out into the batting field and practice swing. They can visualize it, and then it improves their performance. So now let's imagine a situation. What is the, like you mentioned you had an app you were using?
Yeah. Dating app.
So that dating app, you're about to ask this girl out.
Mhm.
And now let's paste that feeling of confidence.
Okay. Like, so invoke it from, the job switch and just kind of like paste it over.
Yeah. And now tell me what that experience is like. Visualize it in your head as you're typing the message, as you're pressing send. What's that experience like?
I'm feeling, a little nervous for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I hit send. It's like, and I feel a sense of like, well, it's out of my hand now.
Yeah.
It's up to her now.
Uh-huh.
I did what I could, and I guess it it's a little freeing in a way.
I know,
Yeah.
it's
Weird.
And moreover, you were the one who decided to send that message, right?
Yeah.
So it's not completely up to her. It's up to you as well.
You're right. Yeah. I did my part.
Yeah, you did your part. And now, like, okay, into another space.
Mhm.
You're, setting up you're sending back and forth messages. Now, like, as you're introducing yourself, as you're, talking about your interests, as you're getting to know this person better, let's imagine that. Like, how does that feel?
Oh, the
Yeah.
initial talking stages are actually like pretty nice because it's kind of like, exciting,
Ah,
getting to know someone, and like you feel a little validated whenever they respond, and it's like, and then getting a little bit more and more excited, and then you build up to the point where you want to ask them out.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now, as you're asking them out, you remind yourself that all you're doing is opening one door. It's up to them to see you for who you are.
Mhm.
And like, it's just up to, if they don't see what a great guy you are, then it's sort of their loss. They're missing out on the experience that is you.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Actually, my mind just came up with another resistance.
Okay.
Like,
Well, they can find like 10 more guys just like you.
Mhm.
My mindset just now. Yeah.
yeah,
But
right.
I recognize what you say though.
But yeah, so let's think about this. You go to a museum and there's a really valuable painting, right?
Mhm.
Or you go to a movie that can potentially change your life.
Yeah.
Some people will go to the museum or watch the movie and they'll think that it wasn't doing anything for me.
Mhm.
But that doesn't really change the value of the painting. It doesn't change the value of the movie, right?
No. Yeah. Because
It's just
some people appreciate it.
Yeah, it's just they can't appreciate the beauty inside that painting. They can't appreciate the cinematic masterpiece.
Mhm.
And so if they miss out on you, they're lost.
Yeah.
Right? And that puts you out of so many sort of desperate zones, because your happiness and your worth and your value, they don't depend on external things. They all depend on how you view yourself.
Mhm.
So if you're confident and you believe that you're a good guy, and any girl would be lucky to have a really good time with me because I know how to have a good time. I'm caring, and have the financial means for a really good date. I'm a good talker. I listen well. So if they want to miss out on that, that's their choice.
Mhm. Yeah. Sometimes, like when I'm laying in bed at night, like I think some of these thoughts, like you were just saying,
Mhm.
for sure. But they're not. They're like very fleeting, and they're quick to replace with more negative thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now we're gonna go back to practice again. Now
Mhm.
you're actually on the date. Maybe the
Okay.
second, maybe the third. You're confident because you know that inside you're a good guy.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and
I,
you
I
have
do know that.
Yeah, you know inside that you can give a person a good time. You can be a great romantic partner. And when you know that, like, your actions change.
Yep.
I
Even
agree with that.
even as you're thinking about asking them out for, like, do you want to be my girlfriend?
Mhm.
It doesn't have that nervous energy anymore, because right now you're actually offering them something really good. Instead of like, oh, please, it would mean so much if you accepted this. From there, you're going into, hey, I got this really good offer for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a really good guy and I can show you a really good time, like Aladdin, you know, I can show you the
Yes.
world.
The world. Yeah.
Yeah. And would you be willing to take a ride on this magic carpet? Like, it's really fun.
Yeah.
And you acknowledge that some people are scared of heights. Some people don't want to ride carpets. And then at that point, you can be like, oh, that's a bummer. But, you know, if you change your mind, or if I don't know, if you don't want to offer that again, it's like, oh, well, okay, then this was fun, but I want to find people, I want to have fun with people who like to go on magic carpet rides.
Mm-hmm.
Does that feel believable?
Yeah, a little bit. Not fully though, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just giving so negative thoughts for you
Mhm.
are a thought habit, right?
Yes.
Because it's established over time. And when you look at the brain cells, the neurons, the more you think one thought, the pathway between the neurons that establish that thought get really optimized.
Mhm.
So like the electricity, it just goes like butter, so smooth, because
Mhm.
that path has been overactivated for such a long time. But today, what we did is your brain only knew like 3 neurons so far.
Mhm.
But today, what we did is we gave them like 10 more neurons to associate with.
Mhm.
Those were fleeting, like you said before.
Mhm.
But today, what we did is we went into that mental zone and we really connected the dots. You felt the emotions inside of your body. You made the mental association of, oh, yes, if I think this, then I think this can happen. You brought back old memories and you relinked the time where you felt confident.
Mhm.
So the changes happened already because the brain is very malleable. The brain is capable of making new connections.
Mhm.
And now, subconsciously, next time you pick up the phone, next time your friend tries to set you up on a date, you're going to notice, whoa, yeah, I do feel nervous and I do feel crappy, but at the same time, I remember feeling something else. Oh yeah, I know what it's like to feel confident in these situations.
Mhm.
And your brain makes another connection and then another connection. And that's when it really starts changing.
Yeah. And do I need to like do anything about the old quote unquote bad connections, or can I just leave them?
Yeah, so we did the tapping today, right?
Mhm.
So you notice that after you do the tapping, you're kind of in a kind of whoa, like, whoa, what just happened kind of a phase, right?
Mhm.
So on my YouTube channel, I will link it to you. Like I'll email it to you after this call. There are actually 2 more techniques that I use to break out of that, break the link. So next time you're feeling like, oh, that's happening, then you can do this technique. Next time you feel like that's happening, you can do this technique. So when you start interrupting that thought habit,
Mhm.
it has an experience, it gets the jolt, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go back to my old patterns. Like, whoa, what just happened? Like,
Mhm.
it's like somebody shaking you. And your brain is like, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to the comfortable. It's like, whoa, what happened?
Mhm.
So that's what the thought interruptions exercises are gonna do. And we did one today, but I'll link to more after our call.
Okay. Yeah. It's kind of like how why they teach you meditation, I guess, because
Mhm.
like you notice stuff and then you try to not follow your thought.
Yeah, you just observe
Mhm.
and let it go.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right. Any concluding remarks before we finish?
Yeah. No, I thought this was really helpful.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
came on, and thanks a lot.
I'm
for-
gonna.
Conclude the recording now, but we can stay on and talk a little bit more.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Thank you.